Let's get back on the markets now. I'm bringing Jonathan Corpina of Meridian Equity Partners. He's down the floor of the New York Stock Exchange right now. Jonathan, always good to speak with you. Big market reversal. Bring us down onto the floor right now. What has sparked this turn in the markets today?
I think it's probably a technical bounce that we've seen here. Over the last few trading sessions, we've seen a lot of volatility. VIX tried to break that $30 level. It couldn't get through it. We've seen the S&P bounce off the 200-day moving average. And we continue to watch all these headlines that have been coming out this week about coronavirus and spiking numbers in different areas. So couple all of that together, and we're going to continue to see this volatility like we're seeing today, this fluctuations in the market back and forth. Yesterday, significant pressure on our markets. And once again, our markets are being dictated by coronavirus numbers that come out daily. Expect our market to have more volatility as the day continues, as those numbers unfold.
Jonathan, yesterday, that was a pretty aggressive sell-off. The major indexes, each of them off more than 2%. We're seeing this bit of a bounce back now. But what was that sell-off like? Was it orderly? And was there a lot of volume to sort of back it up?
There certainly was enough volume that was there, and it was orderly. As we work our way through this, I think we're looking way down the road, right? Next quarter, how are things going to look? Is the economy going to get affected? At this point right now, it seems like the measures that we've taken here in the Northeast have worked. In other areas of the country, it's not working. And the fear is that as those numbers continue to spike, whether you're looking at a county-by-county basis or a state-by-state basis, as those numbers spike, there's going to have to be drastic measures taken into place to subdue those numbers. And what does that mean? Once again, we might start talking about or looking at shutting down businesses in certain metropolitan areas to get those numbers down. So that fear is there. And as we've all heard and have spoken about what happens in the fall, that's in the back of our heads that this can come back again. So are we seeing a second wave now? I still think we're part of the first wave that's continued to move across our country. And that's the fear that we saw in the market yesterday.
Jonathan, I don't, at least right now, from where my vantage point is, I don't see an upside catalyst for the markets here. We had a lot of stocks earlier in the week, notably in big tech, hit record highs. What's the catalyst that sends the market over a cliff again?
Over a cliff to the downside, I think, is as we see these.
Downside.
To the downside, yeah, as we see these numbers continue to spike across the country. There are different chapters, right, throughout the country, and everyone's living and going through a different chapter. New York, metropolitan area, we had it bad. Other areas in the country were not feeling that effect. We've seen that reverse now. And as that continues, I think everyone needs to play their own game, their own chapter in different areas, and can't compare what happens in New York to what happens in Cincinnati. So as that continues and as we see those numbers spike, and if they cannot get some sort of cap on them, that's what's going to push our market over the edge. Because once again, the concept, the ideas, the conversations of this coming back in the fall, we've seen the movie already, right? We saw what happened in the Northeast. We saw what happened in the country to shut everything down. Nobody wants that to happen again. But if it's either feast or famine, and this comes back across the board and numbers spike, I think we know what the answer is going to be, and we don't want to relive that again.
Jonathan, as we're seeing these cases spike in different pockets of the country, what are you seeing from your clients? Are they a little reticent to be in this market in a big way? Are they wanting to hold on to a little more cash? What are you seeing on the ground there?
Right, so to take the other side to Brian's question, to put us over the cliff, what's going to move us to the upside? No one's talking about China right now, and no one's talking about elections right now. People are talking about vaccinations, and if and when that vaccination comes, that's going to move the market to the upside. Put those two concepts aside, everyone will have to start unwillingly or unwantingly focus on this election as we get closer and closer to that. We see the polls shift every day in that. It depends who you're which poll you're looking at, who's in the lead, but that effect certainly is going to have some impact on our markets. So what clients are looking at, they're looking at everything across the board, and right now, when you're looking at what the next 6 months looks like, it's very cloudy. The crystal balls are not very clear. So what do investors do? They try to take some risk off. They try to peel back. Yet you have to leave enough on the table that if this market does spike, if we get an unknown vaccination headline that we weren't expecting, you want to partake in that.
So Jonathan, interesting you just mentioned that. So really, people and clients and investors are not yet worried about the election.
They're not, right? Because the numbers keep shifting back and forth, right? And in a normal cycle, we would have had a normal time frame. We would have had a lot more of the both candidates in front of us, a lot of rallies, much more information. The news cycles, are confused as to what to really focus on at this point. The major global headline is talking about coronavirus, and then we've got our U.S. headlines. Our presidential election is probably second or third major headline that's out there. So I think investors are waiting for that date to get closer, because once again, one day the polls have President Trump in the lead. Another day, another poll has candidate Biden in the lead. So that keeps shifting back and forth. I don't think people are truly, totally focused on that at this point right now.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave it there. Jonathan Corpina of Meridian Equity Partners, down from the New York Stock Exchange floor. Always great to talk with you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Nice to be back.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.